Cody Webb and Tristan Hart are the only riders standing between Colton Haker and his fourth AMA EnduroCross championship. The final round of the 2020 Geico Motorcycle AMA EnduroCross Series, presented by Lucas Oil, is next. Hello everybody, welcome to Glen Helen Raceway in San Bernardino, California. It's the final round of the Geico Motorcycle AMA EnduroCross Championship presented by Lucas Oil. 5 rounds down, 1 to go. Colton Haker leads this championship by 10 points over rival Cody Webb and Tristan Hart sitting in third as they run. It's been a great championship fight to this point. A lot of storylines to cover. Colton Haker with some issues at round number 5, taking him off the top step of the podium, replaced by Cody Webb. Look at our Geico Motorcycle point standings. It's a 10-point gap from Haker to Webb. If Webb wants to win this title, he's got to win this race today and hope for a huge mistake from Colton Haker. Let's go down and jump on board with Destry Abbott. This is our track preview presented by Galfer USA.
Take you for a lap for round 6 of the EnduroCross series. Nice little finish line double. You can either step up or single, then double down. This K-rail, it's going to be a really tricky section because a lot of guys are going to want to set up like I did, but of course you're going to leave that door open. This last one's the most difficult. We're heading downhill on that one. This is the section we get to open up that bike, really get on the gas here. Off camber log into the matrix. I like to triple in. If you can double, you'll see the top guys, but super difficult to use your legs all the time for 8 laps. Nice little off camber, single log. There's a couple different sequences, double, I single, double, and now we're gonna get into the trickiest section of this is the double K-rail here. You can wheel tap, definitely don't wanna come up short on either one of those. It'll waste a lot more energy. Over a nice little step up. Now we got this big abrupt log into the rock section that is really about momentum. The faster you go, it's like sand, but it's hard to get yourself to go fast because consequences are big. Nice little pipe jump. We're gonna have a fun little corner here. That's probably my favorite section because it's the easiest. And into the tires, we want to wheel tap possibly. Here I want to ride across that sidewalls. And then now we're gonna try to either step up or single, try to stay light on those toes, smooth throttle, double down, single, and there's a lap for round 6 of the 2020 EnduroCross season.
The track will be a challenge today. It is changing each and every time the riders are on the track. Daytime qualifying is complete. Haker was the fastest. We have a 3-moto format with Olympic scoring, so the least combined points will win you the overall here at AMA EnduroCross. Let's head down to Kristen Beach. He's got our Geico Motorcycle pre-race report on Colton Haker.
The biggest obstacle for Colton Haker to overcome today will be Colton Haker. If he can keep things together, this championship is his, but one bobble, one domino could trigger a downfall, especially with the track being so inconsistent. In racing, it's so challenging to regroup if you make a mistake, and those mental mistakes can penetrate even the most accomplished athletes in a high-stress scenario. And with the championship on the line, Daniel, a track that has intentionally and decisively been left rutted with mouse traps and inconsistent surfaces, I would say the stress level is pretty high for the defending champion Colton Haker as we head into this first moto.
Thank you, Kristen. If you look at the results through Colton Haker's career, not only in EnduroCross but in other disciplines as well, this is a rider who's pretty mentally strong when it comes to the final race of a series needing to close down a championship. That's why you see the big number 1 on his plate. And the plate is red because he's the current points leader, so he knows exactly how to handle situations like this. He's done it before. He's going to try to do it again today. 6 minutes plus 1 lap. We look at the Geico Motorcycle starting grid. Haker, Hart, Webb, they were your 3 fastest in qualifying. Haker, the only rider to break under a minute during qualifying. The revs go up, the gate goes down. Good jump from Haker, but not enough to overcome Tristan Hart. He goes left, he goes right, gets the Fox hole shot. And the Red Bull KTM rider wants to leave this series with a major impression. He'd love to get a win and let everybody know that 2021, he will be one step closer to that championship. It's been a great season for him so far. Great motos here and there, a little bit of inconsistency at times, but also dealing with some injuries here late in this championship. And it's not going to slow him down any today. He gets the green flag. That means go. Everything is a go from here. Haker second, Abbott third, Webb in fourth. Tristan Hart over the K-rails. At round number 5, he got himself out front early, made mistakes through that section, looks way better today. Let's go on board with Corey Graffender. If you think EnduroCross is intense, look at it from his point of view. Everybody bunching together so quick, so tight, not much time to think and make decisions. You really got to go off your instincts, especially on the opening lap. See a little bit of pressure right there from Cody Webb. Now gets by Abbott into third. Now he's going to make a move on Haker. Haker with a big mistake through the K-rails, loses a lot of time and the position. And for Hart and Webb, they have got to win today if they want a shot at the championship. Here's Kristen Beat with more on the 84.
Tristan Hart's thumb is still an issue here at round 6, even though you may not be able to tell. Tristan said anywhere he's putting pressure on the bars, the log section, for example, it feels like someone is digging in with a knife. Daniel, you know all about racing with an injury.
Yeah, it's so tough, especially when you're out there trying to let the adrenaline take over. You want to just focus on the racing, but subconsciously it's sitting in the back of your mind knowing that you have this injury. You feel it every time you make a mistake. For Tristan Hart, a rider who rides with no fear and no nerves, that injury is definitely playing its part in this story, but not in this moto. Cody Webb now up into second, trying to chase down Tristan Hart, and again, to win the championship, he's got to win today. 3-moto format. He can be patient in this moto if he would like, but I think he's back against the wall at this point. Pretty much just need to go and win the race and hope for the best. And if you could put Tristan Hart in between yourself and Colton Haker, your odds improve just a little bit. So Cody Webb will try to make the run on Hart right now. He's not too far behind. Hart with a little bit of mistake, but Webb makes his own mistakes. So in a section where he could normally make up some time, he doesn't make much that lap. Colton Haker sitting in third. You see him right there enter the shot. He is not riding too aggressive today. Again, with the championship on the line, these riders all know exactly what they need to do if they want to win this thing. And for Colton Haker, just be solid, get the job done. You don't need to win today. You don't need to get second. A podium finish would get him the title, no question. So I have to imagine that the #1 machine will not be taking too many chances today. And as much as he pridefully would love to win the race, it's bigger picture for Colton Haker right now. You can see there wasn't much urgency to get back going right now. This was a rider who I don't think is chasing the win. He is without question chasing the championship. And that's why you see him riding so calm and collected right now early in moto #1. 2.5 minutes to go before these riders get the white flag, so there is still time. Up and over the K-rails, a clean lap going since he got onto that start straightaway. Tristan Hart, Cody Webb, Colton Haker running 1, 2, 3. The factory Red Bull KTM rider is out front. The Sherco rider in second. And the Husqvarna factory rider in third. Great representation from all three of these riders throughout this entire season. Webb finally getting an overall at round number 5. Colton Haker had a tough day. He won the first and the third motos at our last round. But moto #2 had a fall, had some bike issues with the front brake. Was able to continue, but was only able to fight back to 6, so it cost him a run at the overall. Tristan Hart had a great round number 5, very solid, consistent. Little mistakes here and there throughout the moto, but nothing dramatic that took him off the podium. But this is a rider who got his first taste of victory this season and would love to end this championship with another win. That's how you send messages. These riders all know, they remember. And if you can close out this title with a big win at round number 6, the competition will remember that when we go into 2021. They'll remember that Tristan Hart ended on top. This is a rider who has continued to improve throughout his career. Said he wants to be the next Colton Haker, the next Cody Webb, and he's doing it right now, battling with them each and every race. Cody Webb all alone in second. Not close enough to pressure Hart. And a pretty big gap back to Colton Haker. Haker, again, not pushing this race. Championship on the mind, and that's how you win it. The first 5 rounds of the series, he pressed hard, did what he had to do to open up the gap. That's what you want to do so you can go into the final round and be in a management situation and not have to push, not have to take chances, not have to win each and every moto and each and every overall. You stack them points throughout the series, and that's why you're able to ride the way you want the final round. Tristan Hart, again, the odds of winning this championship are not very good. He's pretty far out of it. Still trying to leave one lasting impression on the season and doing it right now. And I'll tell you what, this guy has been so good out of the gate. His starts have been incredible. The speed has been there. He obviously has the talent, the technique, the support. I have to imagine the Red Bull KTM team is very happy with his season. It's a rider that is moving up each and every year. The trajectory would put him in championship contention in 2021 if he keeps improving, finding a little bit more consistency, maybe a little bit more technique in some of these tougher sections. And they're going to have a tough time dealing with the number 84 next year. Hart, Webb, Haker, 1, 2, 3. You see Gersten and Abbott running 4th and 5th. Abbott was up front early, must have made a mistake. The battle between Abbott and Gersten has been building over the last couple races. But with a half a lap to go, Tristan Hart is going to strike first here at round number 6 and get this moto win if he can get through the rocks. He's had a couple tough laps through this section, and now he has lap riders to deal with. No problems on this final lap. Cody Webb, you see right there, making a run at it, last-ditch effort. But this one is going to go to Hart. Moto number 2, of course, an inverted start, so Hart will be in the back row, Webb will be in the back row, Haker will be in the back row. But in moto number 1, the number 84 Red Bull KTM rider grabs the win. Cody Webb in second. Huge gap back to third. There's Colton Haker. It's championship day for the number 1 machine. If he can just stay solid, he can grab himself another title for the Rockstar Husqvarna team. Let's look at the Moto 1 results. It's Tristan Hart, Cody Webb, Colton Haker, 1, 2, 3, followed by Gersten, Abbott, Graffinder, Keppel, and Rorden rounding out the top 8. We'll go down to Kristen Beat, who has the Moto 1 winner, Tristan Hart, with her at the podium.
Tristan, with 7 stitches and super glue in your right hand, you were still able to make it happen. What helped you build that distance over Cody Webb and Colton Haker in that moto?
I think the rocks. I got the rocks pretty good today, so I'm feeling good there with the Dunlop tire. I think Cody had me on the K-rails a bit, but I knew if I could just get through the K-rails and get to the rocks, I was home free, and feels good to get the first one out of the way.
Tristan Hart breathing heavy. He wanted the win, and he got it. More EnduroCross when we return. The 2020 AMA EnduroCross Series is brought to you by Geico Motorcycle and by Lucas Oil. It's the final round of AMA EnduroCross from Glen Helen Raceway. Colton Haker, with a 3rd place finish in Moto number 1, is 2 motos away from wrapping up his 4th EnduroCross championship.
Yeah, so 2020 is as weird as it's been for everybody else, I think, but we've had like an awesome series, honestly. We've had some surprise winners, we've had a lot of new players in the mix, and then battles with some regular players as well. So I think honestly EnduroCross is on its way back to the glory days, and I'm stoked that we were able to get this done this year. The track has actually been super interesting and different than anything we've ever raced before, as far as being outdoors, dealing with the light, the ruts that have developed, the dirt, the track design, everything's been different, and you know, what else would you expect during 2020? I'm actually doing all right. I'm back to where I was at the start of the season as far as my body feeling good. Second round, I had a slip disc in a practice crash, and then I kind of just dealt with that all the way through until basically now I actually feel pretty good. I'm the 3rd oldest guy in the main event, so yeah, I guess I'm an old guy. I think that each generation that comes, the guy before them that was winning, obviously they look at them as the standard, so they're trying to mimic what that guy's doing. So I'm assuming he's been able to watch Cody and myself for the last 5 years, and he's probably been thinking the whole time like, oh, I gotta do it like they do it, and I gotta do it like that. Whereas for me and Cody, we were looking at, you know, Taddy, who was kind of the champion before us. And so each generation has little characteristics and traits from the champions before, but then they put their own spin on it. Obviously winning one championship was the goal from the very beginning. It was, I just want to win one race. I just want to win one title. And then you do one race, you win one title, and then it's like, I want to win another one, you know? And you start to create little goals for yourself along the way, and just fortunate to be able to have the opportunity to be a 3-time champion, hopefully a 4-time champion after tonight. And we're here, and we're here to get the job done, and we're going to take it one race at a time, one log at a time, one turn at a time, and hopefully the end result means that.
And as Colton Haker mentioned, the track has been very unique this year, being outside, a little bit of a different taste for all the riders, and no question he's been able to handle it better than anybody else in the field. Here's Kristen Beat with our Lucas Oil track report.
Daniel, this matrix section is particularly challenging tonight because it's getting really cupped out. And what I mean by that, the dirt, the composition is starting to deteriorate at the base of the log, making it hard to gauge and judge where you should get over it. And with each different row of this matrix, it's doing that in a different way at a different section. When we first started racing here, the dirt might have been up to here, but now it's completely deteriorated at the base of this log, making it so hard to gauge and making it particularly hard for riders to get through.
Well, Kristen, they only got to do it 2 more times. Moto number 2 when we return. Welcome back to Glen Helen Raceway in San Bernardino, California. It's the final round of the AMA EnduroCross Championship. Moto number 2 is on the gate. It's a 6-minute race plus 1 lap, but the start is inverted. So the top 8 riders from Moto number 1 are now in the back row. You see Colton Haker right there in the second gate, choosing the inside line, somewhat of a defensive move from him. But when the championship's on the line, that's how you have to play it. Tristan Hart, Cooper Abbott, Cody Webb, they can't play that game today. They got to go out and try to win this race. The revs are up, gate is down. Good jump out of the gate for Haker. But it looks like the number 17, is he going to get it? Spencer Wilton grabs the Fox hole shot and leads the field on the opening lap. Look at Haker off the track on the left. Our right, his left. And for Wilton, the Canadian rider on the KTM number 17, got a great start in round number 5, Moto number 2, but wasn't able to keep it together across the finish line. Looks like he's going to do it this time. Green flag. And this is something we've seen in the 2020 season. I think it's because of the track design, but if you can get the hole shot and get through the first couple obstacles clean, you can really open up the gap. And he has done that right now. He's lost a little bit of time here in the back half of this lap. But a clean run through the logs, clean run to the finish line and the K-rails. Now we go over the matrix. Nice run through. Here's a replay going on board with Corey Graffner. Do you think going through the rocks is tough? How about doing it in a pack? Look at Haker jumps back on right there, right in front of him. And that's why that opening lap is so challenging. The rocks right out of the second corner. Look at the mistake right there from the number 17, Cody Webb on the number 2, Sherco rider trying to make the pass. Second in Moto number 1 to Tristan Hart, but Hart is way back, 15th. Haker is in 13th, so right now Cody Webb in position to take advantage of their first lap mistakes. Wilton on the tires, makes a little bit of a bobble, not bad, holds him off, cuts over on Cody Webb, good defensive move. Webb up the inside through the logs, jumps off, hits the finish line jump, and now takes control of Moto number 2. 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. We're still early in this race. A lot of time for Colton Haker and Tristan Hart to make their way through the field. You look at the leaderboard right now. Hart is up to 11th. Haker is up to 9th. And with a 3-moto format, oh, Cody Webb goes down. He tried to wheelie up over the last log, and now Wilton goes down. Gersten goes down. LeBlanc goes off the track. Webb is able to get up just in time to take the lead. What a turn of events. They crashed somewhat into each other, causing a blockage through that section. No one could really get by. Works out great for Cody Webb. Now look at the pass from Colton Haker, moving his way through the field. Gets by Cooper Abbott. Gets by LeBlanc. And he is making moves right now towards the front. Cody Webb, again, you see him at the very end of that straightaway. He's in the lead, but look at, there's a 39 of Rorden. Gersten, all in front of Haker right now, and if he can put together a nice half a lap, he can get by these guys. Look at the aggressive move right there. Wow, that was really aggressive, actually. Maybe a little bit of frustration, a bad first lap from him, and on championship day, you have got to avoid the mistakes. You got to stay away from the carnage, and that's what he's doing right now, trying to get through it as quick as possible so he can get alone and run his own laps. Cody Webb out front. Again, the 2020 season for him has been, it's been a season of progress, working very closely with the manufacturer Sherco. They're back in France, going back and forth on settings, trying different things with the ignition and the power, wanting to get this bike where it can be as competitive as it needs to be to win races and win championships, and they've definitely made the improvements throughout the season. There's Gersten on the 15. Haker on the number 1 makes a mistake on the K-Rail, doesn't even get to the first one. Now pops over, but he loses the position to Keppel. Tough break for the number 1 machine. Let's go down to Kristen Beat with more.
If Colton secures his 4th championship today, he will be 1 title shy of tying the record of 5 American Super EnduroCross titles with Tadej Blazusiak. He also has another year left on his Rockstar Husqvarna contract, so the window is there for him to get it done. The question is, will he be able to in the future, Daniel?
Well, Kristen, he mentioned in his sit-down interview that once you win the first title, then you want the second, you want the third. It becomes somewhat addicting. You like winning. You train, you work hard, you want to win. And for him, he's probably looking at the all-time list going, hey, I'm going to get my 4th one if I can finish today strong. But I would love to tie Tadej Blazusiak and get the 5th. And if you're Tadej Blazusiak, you're probably watching this race going, okay, get your 4th, but I would love to come back next year and put a stop to your run. And I have to imagine for 2021, if you look at the improvements from Tristan Hart, you look at Cody Webb and the development of the Sherco machine, add Tadej Blazusiak to the mix, 21 season could be fireworks for these guys. But right now, the focus is on 2020 and wrapping up this championship, and Colton Haker is making the moves necessary to do it. He gets by Keppel. Watch out, here comes Tristan Hart. Very good line choice right there by Colton Haker. That's a line that you can use to pass, and he knew. He looked over, saw it was Tristan Hart, knew that he would probably do the same thing. So he blocked that inside line and then sprinted away. That's signs of a great racer right there. If you can ride offensively defensive, where you take the lines that block but continue to press forward, that's how you battle in EnduroCross and in all forms of two-wheel racing. It's a hard thing to master. Colton Haker obviously has mastered it. Tristan Hart looking to master it. But look at the lead from Cody Webb over a straightaway on the competition. Gersten in 2nd, Haker in 3rd. Haker up the inside, I think made the move right there. But Cody Webb has the lead that he needs to be patient, has the lead that he needs to take the lines that he wants, cruise into the 2nd moto victory. And look at the battle. Gersten fighting back. He had a quiet start to the season, but has turned it up as of late, battling with Haker and Hart. Hart up the inside is going to get by both of them. And I promise you, in a typical race day, Colton Haker would not be cool with getting passed by Tristan Hart. But with the championship on the mind, I have to imagine that he's staying disciplined right now, focusing on the big picture, even though you know he would like to make a move back on him. But the 84, he was 14th on the opening lap. And with 1 lap to go, has put himself in position to get this overall. A 1-2 finish would give him 3 points going into the final moto. Cody Webb, though, with a 2nd and a 1st, he would have 3 points as well. So it would be a 3rd moto runoff for these two riders to see who's going to get the overall on the day. And Colton Haker, again, not giving these guys an inch when it comes to the championship. They need a big day, not only for themselves, but a really bad day from Haker, and he is just not allowing it to happen. Making great decisions on the racetrack. And for Cody Webb, he said early in the championship he wanted to be consistent, but he knew he needed to start taking chances and find some speed. And over the last 2 or 3 races, he has found it. Racking up moto wins, got the overall win at round number 5. He's going to get another moto win here, moto number 2 on the day. Not only a win, but a big one. Look at the lead back to Tristan Hart. And as we go to moto number 3, we'll line them back up in the traditional format. So gates 1, 2, and 3 for these 3 riders on the front row. We look at the Geico Motorcycle Moto 2 results. It's Cody Webb, Tristan Hart, Colton Haker, 1, 2, 3, as we've seen most of the season. Gersten, Keppel, Graffender rounding out the top 6. Let's head down to Kristen Beat with the Moto 2 winner.
Cody Webb with not just a win, but a deliberate win. What has prompted this shift in momentum for you and this team? And as you mentioned a minute ago, you feel as though Colton maybe let Tristan by.
Yeah, I got a nice lead right off the bat because those guys were second in the back of the pack, and I somehow just got through everyone clean right off the bat, which was really helpful. I feel like that's kind of the first time that second moto's gone in my favor to that extent. And I went over the bars in the matrix like an idiot. And, Tristan, he's right behind me in the points right now, and he was pretty far back. And I know Colton has more in the tank, and I for sure think that there's some team orders since Husky KTM's the same thing. it's happened to me before, and basically why I left the team. And I don't know, I'm just annoyed that they just can't let the riders decide for themselves what happens. It seems like team tactics always come into play, and they just don't want to see me on top and front with a Sherco.
Shots fired by the number 2 machine, and I love it. More EnduroCross when we return. Welcome back to AMA EnduroCross from Glen Helen Raceway. Moto 1 and Moto 2 of the Pro Division is complete. They're getting ready for their final moto of the championship and the season. Amateur EnduroCross is on the gate. It's a 4-minute race plus 1 lap. Shelby Turner on the number 1 machine. Won round number 5 and has been dominating the women's division all the way through this championship. These are the highlights from the amateur division. The gate went down and the hole shot went to the number 44 of Joshua Fout from Big Bear Lake, California. And for Joshua Fout, he has been hole shotting almost every race on the season, using the same tactic usually, starting on the outside, carrying his momentum in, crossing in, and then having the inside in the second corner, grabbing another Fox hole shot. Tyler Smith out of Simi Valley, California on the Husqvarna. He's been riding great this season, has had a lot of success, but has had some mistakes. You see the mistake right there. Turner's going to end up getting by up the inside. No, not enough. Tyler Smith shuts the door. Joshua Fout at this point had pulled away with a pretty big lead in this moto while Smith and Turner battle it out for second. But about halfway through this race, Tyler Smith was able to find his rhythm, find his groove, chase down the 44 of Fout, and when Fout, you see him downshift there twice, probably down into first gear, makes a little bit of a mistake. You see the lap rider pushed him to the left-hand side of the track. He loses ground, tries to get back on, but it's not enough. Tyler Smith ends up making the pass. And in EnduroCross, there's multiple ways to make a move on the rider in front of you. Sometimes you got to force the issue. Sometimes you just wait and be patient. A lot of mistakes, especially in the amateur class. These riders having a tough time getting through the track. Almost identical track to the pros. They do skip a couple sections you'll see right here. They go over the pipe, and they'll cut underneath and skip the tires. So a couple of the more difficult sections they do leave out. There's Smith getting the white flag, had one more lap to go, and Turner was closing. And Shelby Turner, again, such a great riding style. Very efficient with EnduroCross. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. But for Tyler Smith, has just enough of a lead that if he could get through these couple sections one more time, he will get the win. Up and over the matrix. Nice and clean. Lap riders, of course, play a role in every single race, especially in amateur racing. Because when they fall in some of the more difficult sections, usually they cover most of the track, causing the riders to take a line maybe they're not used to or a line they don't want to take, and that's when the big mistakes happen for the leaders. So if you're Smith right here, yes, you got to get through the rocks, but here's the problem. You got the 113 stuck on the left. You have the 110 navigating to the right. He goes right through the middle, and if he would have been a little bit further behind, might have ran into the back of the 110. But Tyler Smith standing most of this track, staying disciplined, staying consistent, and closing out the lap that was the most important, the one he needed to get the win. He grabs the checkered flag. He's going to win the race. You see Turner there back in second. And after the big mistake midway through this race, Fout was able to regroup and get back to the top 3. And there it is. Tyler Smith, Shelby Turner, Joshua Fout, 1, 2, 3, followed by Griffiths, Gouvet, and Robles rounding out the top 6. And the Amateur EnduroCross Series will come to an end.
Coming up next, we got Moto 3 on Fox Sports.
We're back at Glen Helen Raceway for the final round of the AMA EnduroCross Championship. Colton Haker, one moto away from getting it done. We're going to go down now to our Geico Motorcycle pre-race report with Kristen B with an update from the pits.
Daniel, I followed up with Colton Haker and with Tristan Hart regarding Cody Webb's assumption about team directives. When I spoke with Colton Haker, he said he made a mistake in the rock section. He said no team directives have been given. I also spoke with Tristan Hart. I asked him the same question. He said no directives. He said he is just that good in the rock section. But regardless, Cody Webb is going to be racing with a chip on his shoulder, and he is racing in this final moto of the season heated. I just spoke with him again, and Cody Webb is about making a statement on this Sherco 300. He said, I need to put my head down and focus to close out the season. Daniel?
Thank you, Kristen. A lot to prove for Cody Webb and Tristan Hart in this final moto. Of course, they'd love to get the win and the overall, but I'd like to close the championship out on top. Let Colton Haker know that 2021 might be a little bit tougher for him, but it's not over. We still got one race to go, 6 minutes plus one lap. We look at the Geico motorcycle starting grid. You see Webb, Hart, and Haker, 1, 2, 3. Kirsten, Keppel, Graffender, Abbott, LeBlanc all in the front row. 6 minutes plus one lap to close out the 2020 championship. A lot of nerves, a lot of anticipation. The gate goes down. Good jump for Tristan Hart, but Haker tries to push the rider out of his way. Doesn't do it. Hart's going to get the foxhole shot, just like he did in Moto number 1. Haker makes a little bit of a mistake. Webb goes by. And the battle is going to be on between Hart and Webb. Both these riders in position right now to get the overall, but you got to win this moto. And Colton Haker's in a good spot. He's in third. If he sits there, he will be the champion, and it feels good for him to see Webb and Hart right in front of him. He knows exactly the scenario that he's found himself in, and he can now manage this race and manage this championship. But for Hart and Webb, there's a lot more on the line than the championship in this moto, and overall, and although there will be a long gap before the 2021 season, these riders still like to end on top. They use that to carry into the new season. It's a reminder to everybody that, hey, when we ended 2020, I was the fastest guy on the track. And for Hart and Webb, that is the challenge in this final moto. Haker actually makes the move somewhat, gets up next to Webb, battling side by side. He doesn't have to do this, but racer instincts take over. Let's go down to Kristen with more on the 84.
Tristan Hart told me his goal for this moto, the final moto of the season, is to end the season on a high note. He said, I have nowhere I have to race anytime soon, so I can give this my all and race like there is no tomorrow, and hopefully put in a solid final moto for what has been a breakout season for Tristan Hart.
Well, Kristen, he's doing exactly what he needs to do to accomplish that goal, the goal that he had on the starting gate, which was to let it all hang out on the track. And he's right. There is no more EnduroCross this season. There's no more racing for him in 2020. So it's time to just fight through the injury, let the adrenaline take over, and try to win this race and send one final message to the competition. Colton Haker looking pretty spunky right now for a rider who doesn't need to ride this way to win the championship. Maybe he wants to send a message into 2021 that, hey, I can win at the beginning of the year, I can win in the middle of the season when it matters, and even at the end of the year when I don't need it, I still can beat you guys. Obviously, that's got to be the goal right now, because he made the move on Webb, and he's aggressively moving forward, trying to close the gap on Tristan Hart when he doesn't need to. And now to the back tire. Ooh, good run to the tires right there. Wheelies up over. And through the logs, 3.5 minutes left to go. Plenty of time. And we've seen these top three riders somewhat pull out a gap over the second half of this season. They've been 1, 2, 3 almost every ride. Cooper Abbott has got in there and mixed it up in the top three a couple times. But for Cody Webb, this moto needs to beat Tristan Hart for the overall. And is starting to lose just a little bit of ground, not only to Hart, but to Colton Haker as well. So with 3 minutes to go, he's gonna have to turn it up a level, take some chances, and find just a little bit more speed. The Sherco-backed rider, 3-time champion, would love to get another one in 2021, and that's why 2020 has been so important for him and the team. Further developing this motorcycle. In the offseason, he spent a lot of time on a 2-stroke, switched to the 4-stroke right before the season, and had to make some dramatic improvements at rounds 1 and 2, but once he found his groove, been battling for wins ever since. He's now moving back up onto the back of Colton Haker. Definitely caught him in the second half of that last lap. But a nice comfortable gap in between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. Enough to where these guys can take the lines they want. They don't have to be defensive. They don't have to cross over. They don't have to look over their shoulder. But one mistake can tighten this thing up. And look at Webb. Webb is now caught to the back of Haker, right behind him, close enough to make a move if he wants to. He's going to have to be aggressive. And this might be the point in the race where Haker makes the decision to maybe back off just a little bit. Tristan Hart has pulled away, so a moto win is looking less likely. Tristan Hart is on fire today. That second moto, remember, he had to come from so far back. So the second place finish in that race was definitely a good one for him, even though he didn't get the win. There's Webb up the inside, makes the move. And Haker, who normally would throw it in right in that corner and be aggressive, didn't do it. I think he knows what that play right now with 1.5 minutes to go. Does not need to get into a fight with Cody Webb, because one big mistake can put him on the ground. And think about it. A bike problem, a malfunction. We saw it at round number 5. He fell, had some front brake issues. A scenario like that could cost him the championship. So wisely, he's going to back off and settle for third. Not something you'll see early in the championship from Colton Haker. But Cody Webb now back up to second. If he wants the overall in the day, he's going to have to put together 2 or 3 really solid laps. Hope for a mistake. You see all the riders right there on the screen. Tristan Hart and Cody Webb will be in lap traffic probably about a half a lap from now. So Webb hoping that the mistake will close that gap and then he can make a run at him late in this race. But Tristan Hart has been so solid. Webb, of course, winning the second moto. Oh, little mistake from Hart right there. That's the kind of mistake that Webb needs to get close, but he makes a little bobble himself, so he's not able to close the gap. Up into the logs, up off, 30 seconds left, so they'll finish this lap right here, then get the white flag. So 2 to go, and the 2020 championship will be complete. You see Haker back there in third now, somewhat backing off. He has a huge lead over Keppel, so he does not need to do anything dramatic right now to close out the title. But Tristan Hart, the Red Bull KTM rider, was hired this year to replace Taddy Blazusiak. Taddy was not able to make the trip over to the United States with COVID-19 and some of travel restrictions. Wasn't able to make it for this year. So Red Bull KTM decided, hey, let's take a shot on Tristan Hart. This rider's been getting better each and every year. He's a fighter. Doesn't really get affected by the nerves, goes for it, just sends it every chance he gets. And they know that if their program can help polish him, he will be a championship contender in the future. We saw so many great things from him this season. Moto wins, fastest qualifier, pole shots, overall wins. Everything on the checklist is complete for Tristan Hart except the championship. But you gotta imagine that Cody Webb, Colton Haker, Taddy Blazusiak, who's watching from home, they have to know that Tristan Hart, even though he still gets wild from time to time, is a rider that they need to take very seriously in the future. But before we get to the future, let's talk about the present. Cody Webb's not done. He wheel taps in 4, double through the logs, and he is right on him, and he knows the overall is at stake. It might take an aggressive pass, though. You can be patient early in the race, but at the end of the race, you can't. You got to make moves, go for it like Cody Webb is doing now. And the track is beat up. The ruts are deep. You can see the dirt that's gotten into the rocks makes it even more slick. But Tristan Hart, what a great run right there. He says he's good in the rocks. He saw it right there. Perfect run through. Defends the inside line. And if he can get through one more corner and the logs, he is going to get the overall win. Look at Cody Webb's going for it. Sent it into the corner. It was a last-ditch effort. He goes down. I think he'll be able to get up and possibly hold on for second. Haker backed off that last lap, but Hart's going to get the win. There's the checkered flag. Hart is already making his way to the podium. He knows he got the moto win and the overall win. And Cody Webb, solid ride to close out this championship. A great championship for him. Going to be finishing in second when it's all said and done, but here's the champ. 3-3-3 on the day. Gives him a third overall and the 2020 AMA EnduroCross Championship. Consistent rides when it mattered, and Colton Haker is going to do it again. That's number 4. 4 championships on the resume, and you have to imagine that he's already thinking about number 5 that he will be chasing in 2021. Here's our results from Moto 3. It's Hart, Webb, Haker, 1, 2, 3. Results that we've seen in the second half of this championship. Those 3 riders have been going back and forth. We look at our Geico motorcycle point standings, and the championship is complete. It's Colton Haker. Let's go down to Todd Hammock, Cycle City Promotions, to present the number 1 plate.
Colton, on behalf of the Geico EnduroCross and the American Motorcyclist Association, congratulations on your 2020 EnduroCross Championship.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
The 2020 AMA EnduroCross Series is brought to you by Geico Motorcycle and by Kicker Living Loud. Welcome back to the AMA EnduroCross Championship, the final round from Glen Helen Raceway. Huge congrats to Colton Haker on winning his 4th EnduroCross Championship. Tristan Hart wins the day, but he's 3rd in the series.
Tristan Hart earning 3rd overall in the season standings. Tristan, this has been a breakout season for you, and one moment in Moto 3 reminded me just how much you've matured as a rider. Going over the K-rail, you almost lost it, but you were able to stay composed and hold on for the win. In what ways have you seen your program change over the last 3 years, and do you feel like this was a breakout season for you?
I think the biggest difference from years past is I'm just the same speed as Cody and Colton, and I've never been that before. I wasn't consistent this season, and that's why I got 3rd overall, but the speed is there, so I know if we can be consistent now, we can fight for the title for real next year. So I'm really happy with how this year ended.
A number 2 on his bike, 2nd on the day, and 2nd in the championship for the Sherco rider.
Cody Webb earning 2nd overall in the season standings. A hard-fought battle for you and this team. You had told me at the first round you guys were still kind of figuring things out, but it seems as though you guys, just struck your flow in these final 2 rounds. How satisfied are you with this bike, and what can you say about this team and the development they've undergone in the past 6 rounds?
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm really happy with our program. The Factory One Sherco team kind of took a bet on me, and I took a bet on them, and my mechanic did an unreal job all year. He kind of swapped over with me and worked with him in the past, and we had a great relationship. It's been a great year for us just putting this whole program together, and I think it showed in the final couple races. I got my first win last night. Tonight I was battling for the win in that final moto. I feel like Colton got between Tristan and I and did a good job. He kind of wanted to help his guy get 2nd in the championship, so he could have put a wheel on me, and I had to charge hard. It was either win the race or risk, messing up and not getting 2nd in the championship. So I was looking at the big picture and just really happy with the bike and what we did the last couple of weeks, and really looking forward to next year. And, I had a blast that they were able to put this together, and, hats off to the team.
And we go down now to Kristen B., who is with the 2020 EnduroCross champion.
Colton Haker with his 4th career Super EnduroCross Championship, your 3rd consecutive championship. Colton, how were you able to stay so dominant this season, and in what ways were you challenged?
Well, like I said earlier, every new season presents a new challenge, and I felt like defending it this time just felt a little bit different than the year before. And just with all the circumstances of the outdoors and the back-to-back races, rather than we usually had a spread out series over a couple months. So you have to really it's heightened a bit, right? So it's now, do it now. You have to go now, you have to be healthy, you have to try to stay healthy. I wasn't staying healthy, but I was just getting through it, and super happy to have got this done. At one point, I probably would have told you I've been really happy with 1 championship. Now I'm sitting at 3 world titles and 4 national titles, and I can't tell you how much it means to me to have all the support, of my family and friends and team and sponsors. Nothing's possible without them. I wish my daughters and my wife could be here, but with the short notice of the switch in the changes, they weren't able to come. So there's always next year.